Good morning, everybody. So, as predicted, yesterday the Fed held rates steady. They cited inflationary fears, uncertainty with the tariffs, possible stagflation, even though later on in the video I'm going to explain how that's probably not going to happen. But Powell did mention something very interesting. He mentioned that he started his rate cutting cycle last year too late. And it looks like he's doing his pause too late as well. The markets are pricing in 3 more interest rate cuts by the Federal Reserve this year. It was up to 4 before, but if we get worsening economic data, they're going to have to work on that dual mandate. The dual mandate of the Fed is full employment and keeping inflation in check. Right now, both their mandates are kind of conflicting each other. If employment data gets worse, they're going to have to figure out which side they want to be on. Now, what's going on with these tariffs? How's that going to work? Why do I think stagflation is probably not going to be a thing? This is my base case, okay? We went over this with Airbus last week. Airbus told American airline companies that more than likely they're going to have to absorb the tariffs in their own cost. They can't pass it to the customer. Now, why is that? Well, because when we go into a recession, people have less money. So recessions are naturally deflationary. Prices have to drop because people don't have the disposable income to buy. Tariffs do one thing. They do a strict price increase. So they do a one-time jump. So yes, there will be inflation in the US from tariffs. It's going to pop up, but it pops up by a certain percentage point based off of the tariff. But then it stays there. For there to be stagflation or runaway inflation, which is what the Fed's really worried about, those prices don't just jump 20% and stay there. They have to keep going 20, 25, 30, 35 and upward. That's runaway inflation. A tariff doesn't do runaway inflation. It does a price shock, and then the markets have to absorb it in some way. When you have a rougher economy, what's going to happen? Well, the economy itself is going to drive down those prices because people won't have the discretionary income to keep those prices up, which goes back to Airbus saying, you might have to absorb some, if not all, these tariffs if you want to keep your airlines open, because flying somewhere and vacations are discretionary spending. People will stop flying as much. They will fly less. They'll find alternatives if they can afford those alternatives and make it cheaper for them. So that's why the stagflation argument, as I've said a few times, isn't the best. Will there be inflation? Yes. Will it last? Probably not. And that's why they're still predicting more rate cuts from the Fed. As I mentioned earlier in the video, 3 of them.